Hey, I'm Scott. I'm a physio from the Optimal Health Lab here in Eltham. I'm here to chat to a few senior domestic players today on how you can get yourself back onto the court performing well and making sure that you have an injury-free season after a pretty long layoff with COVID. Alright, so to get yourself back in the swing of things and get you back injury-free, we want to make sure that you're actually accumulating some load onto the body. So you don't want to be really just jumping in and start shooting and jumping and bouncing and like smashing yourself with games. Getting back into a little bit of running, doing that nice and slowly, getting down and shooting the ball a little bit. I wouldn't be neglecting the strength work as well. You need to be making sure that you've got that strong strength base so that when you get back in, your muscles and tissues, bones and ligaments are all going to withstand the stresses of a game of basketball. So there's been a pretty long layoff with COVID and a lot of people might have been running, they might have been doing a little bit, but you're probably running in straight lines, you're not changing direction, you're not jumping and landing from rebounds or cutting and changing direction, crossing over and that sort of thing. Those things are really crucial movements for basketball, so incorporating some of that sort of stuff into your programming will really help you to have a successful return to basketball. So to minimise risk for the older athlete returning after a long break, I think it's imperative to have a good strength base. So if you're pretty time poor or you're not a person that really likes getting to the gym, there are a lot of things that you can still be doing at home to start building up some tolerance within your tissues. If you're stronger within your muscles, stronger within your ligaments and bones, they're going to withstand the rigours of basketball a lot better. So really, really important to not neglect the strength side of things and just jump back into basketball without any of that base. Alright, so just some things to be careful of when returning to basketball. I know everyone's going to be really excited and pumped to get back on the court, but try not to go out there and play 40 minutes in a row. Use your timeouts, use the substitutions. One of the biggest injury risks is a spike in load, and if you're going out there and pounding the court for 40 minutes, the likelihood is that you're going to get injured. The other thing would be, if you're consistently feeling something that's getting a little bit sore, a once off, you might think that's okay, but if it's consistently the same spot that's sore every game or every training, it might be worth getting that checked out before it develops into a full-blown problem. There might be some very simple things that you can do that'll help to prevent that from developing any further or even getting yourself rid of it ongoing, but don't neglect those little things to make sure an injury doesn't develop quickly. Another thing you can do to help prevent injuries, make sure you do a good warm-up. So try not to roll in and just get straight on the court and straight into shooting the ball. You might want to do a little bit of active mobility and taking your body through range. You might want to activate some key muscles like some glutes and your ankles. And make sure that you really warm into it rather than just getting out there, rocking up out of the car after sitting at the desk all day and jumping on the court. That's a surefire way to find yourself getting injured. In terms of recovery, it's really important just to do the basics really well. So after the game, wanting to make sure that you rehydrate all the lost fluid stores that you've lost, making sure that you're getting in the right nutrition as well, and then making sure that you get a good night's sleep. So with the nutrition, obviously we're depleting our energy stores a little bit and we're doing slight trauma to our muscles when we exercise. If you put the right fuel back into your body, your muscles and tendons and bones are going to recover a lot better. And the biggest thing that you can do is get a really good night's sleep. So when we sleep, our body's shutting down a little bit. That's when our muscles go under a big recovery and repair sort of phase. So if you're not getting that sleep, you'll find that you won't recover as well, and that puts you at more of an injury risk. So now we're getting pretty close to having a date that basketball is going to be back. It's important not to leave your run too late. So we don't want to wait until about 2 weeks before and then go like a bull at a gate and try and get ourselves ready. Now's the time to start just gradually accumulating a little bit of load so that you don't have to have that really big spike in your training. So starting a little bit of aerobic exercise a couple of times a week, starting to focus on some strength training a couple of times a week of some key muscle groups as well. Doing that and building up nice and slowly is going to prepare you well for the season ahead rather than waiting until right on top of the season and thinking you've run out of time to do enough. So given basketball is a very impact-based sport, there's lots of jumping, there's change of direction, that sort of thing. We want to make sure that we're keeping an eye on any overload type injuries. So any pain that you experience maybe in your patella tendon or Achilles tendon, they're probably a sign that it's been overloaded a little bit and that needs to be modified and managed. The other ones are things like bony stress as well. So making sure that if we're feeling tender along our shins or tender through our knees, we're not just pushing through that we might want to get that checked out to avoid that becoming a full-blown injury. It may be as simple as modifying a few things for a couple of weeks or giving you some strength exercises you're going to exercise and strengthen the right areas, as opposed to pushing through and finding that then the only thing that we can do is cause you to have a bit of time off to fix things. So some of you guys might work pretty physically demanding jobs out there, builders, carpenters or plumbers, that sort of thing. So I know you guys lift a lot of things throughout the day, but what that's going to do is prolong that period of stress, and it actually increases cortisol, which is a stress hormone within the blood. So it's probably not quite enough to just do that and then expect that you'll be fine to jump back into exercise. Exercise has been shown to actually decrease things like cortisol within your blood, which is going to be really good for your health, and it'll develop your strength a lot better as well, which will make you more likely to have a successful return to basketball when you can get back out there. If you had an injury prior to COVID, which has sort of settled now because you've stopped the impact or settled down from the basketball load, there's a fair chance that might reoccur when you start to go back to that aggravating activity, which might have been jumping in basketball, it might have been the change of direction, whatever it may be. A lot of injuries will reoccur when you start that aggravating activity again. So if you get back into basketball and you start to feel like that niggle reoccurs, it's probably a good idea not to push through it, rather get that checked. Make sure you've got a good plan moving forward that's going to try and help you manage that injury and not let it to develop into something that's going to cause you to have more time off after we've just missed this whole year of basketball anyway. All right, really pumped for you guys to be able to finally get back on the court after it's been a pretty rough year. I hope you guys have taken a little bit out of today. If you need any clarification on anything that we've spoken about, or if you've got any more questions, get in contact with us. We're always more than willing to help. Keep your eye out for some videos. There'll be a few more things coming out about maybe some exercise-based things and some do's and don'ts. So keep your eyes on the socials, and we're here to help if you need us.